back to my YouTube channel. I apologize for the weird background. I'm in Maine. I just came from Boston. We went to Fenway Park, and I filmed my first vlog, so stay tuned for that in the following days. However, the MLB playoffs are starting soon, and they start tomorrow, so if I get this video out any later, then I might be cooked in my predictions. People will say I just looked it up. So, starting with the AL wildcard round 1, it's the 6-seed Tigers versus the 3-seed Guardians. The Tigers, I feel like, are a better team on paper. However, the Guardians, they stormed back from a 14-place deficit from second to first place. And because they beat them and clinched the division, the Guardians have momentum versus the Tigers that kind of cooled down and lost momentum. And losing momentum is the last thing you want to do going into October. So I think the Guardians take the series in 3, but it will be close. Going to the AL wildcard round 2, it is the 5-seed Yankees versus the 4-seed Red Sox. That series is going to be really entertaining. Those teams hate each other. And while I was at Fenway, the Red Sox fans were chanting, F you, Yankees. It's going to be mayhem down there. And I do think the Red Sox come out on top. They do everything perfect. Pitching, they have guys that can slug it, steal bases, Jarren Duran. They have great pitching and defense. The Red Sox do everything very well. So I think the Red Sox and the Guardians will be moving on from the AL wildcard. Going to the NL wildcard round 1, it is the Reds versus the Dodgers. The Dodgers always do a choke job in the playoffs. I don't know how they always do it, but they always do it besides last year, and I don't think they're going back-to-back. So I do think the Reds with Chase Burns, Ellie, TJ Friedl, they're all going to move on. So the 6-seed Reds are going to have a historic run and beat the Dodgers. Also, this might be a little biased because I hate the Dodgers, but I really do believe in this Reds team. Going on to the NL wildcard round 2, it is the Padres versus the Cubs. The Padres are the 5-seed, the Cubs are the 4-seed. The Cubs kind of cooled off towards the end of the year. I don't know if that was because they weren't playing for anything because they already clinched, but they were 4-6 in the last 10. And the Padres, they swept a Diamondbacks team that wasn't playing bad in the last half. They finished 8-2. So I do think the Padres are gonna take care of the Cubs in 3 games in the NL wildcard. So the Cubs and the Padres and the Reds will be going on to the NLDS. But on to the ALDS round 1. It is the 3-seed Guardians versus the 2-seed Mariners. I do think the Guardians have solid pitching, and they have a couple guys like J-Ram. Even Stephen Kwan showed a little bit of pop that can slug it. But I do think the Mariners are going to take this series in 5 games because it's a 5-game series, first to 3 wins. And I think the Mariners offense with their, even still, George Kirby, Castillo, their pitching staff is very good, and I think that will carry them. So the Mariners will take care of the Guardians in 5 games. On to the ALDS round 2, it is the 5-seed Red Sox versus the 1-seed Blue Jays. The Red Sox do have everything well. Like I said, they pitch, they hit. Anything you want, the Red Sox have, do it well, and they can do it well. And also, the Blue Jays are without Bo Bichette and Jose Barrios, which I think it makes it really tough. And the thing about the Blue Jays is they had an incredible summer that rode them to the 1 seed in the AL, but they kind of cooled off towards the later half. So I do think they'll lose to the Red Sox, but it's going to be close. I think it's going to be 5 games like the other series. Now on to the NLDS. It is the 6-seed Phillies versus the 2-seed Reds. The 1-seed Brewers. This is going to be real tough because Ellie, Chase Burns, TJ Friedl, Matt McLean, and so many more guys on that Reds team. They do everything right, and they have TJ Francona, who is an incredible manager. But I don't know if they can overpower the Phillies, who have Bryce Harper, Kyle Schwarber. Even without Zach Wheeler, that team is really good. So I do think the Phillies, unfortunately, take this series over the Reds. The Reds had a great run up to the NLDS. On to the NLDS round 2. It is the 5-seed Padres versus the 1-seed Brewers. The Brewers went on a tear over the summer, kind of like the Blue Jays that gave them that 1 seed, but then they cooled off towards the later half, which, again, you don't want to lose momentum going into October. So, I don't know. This is really tough. These 2 teams, they're kind of incredible, but the Padres, they always just figure out a way. Besides last year, they played the eventual World Series champions very well in the Dodgers, so I think the Padres take this in 5 games. On to the ALCS, it is the 5-seed Red Sox versus the 2-seed Mariners. I've spent every opportunity in this video talking about how the Red Sox do everything right, from their pitching staff, Brian Bello, to their offense, Jarren Duran, Colton Wong. But I do think the Mariners are going to take him down. I think Cal Raleigh and Julio Rodriguez are going to go off on top of that disgusting Mariners bullpen and starting pitching. It's not just their starting pitching that's great, it's their bullpen too. So I think the Mariners take this in 6 games because the NLCS and ALCS is 6 games, or best out of 7, so first to 4. And I think the ALCS MVP will be Julio Rodriguez. Onto the NLCS, the 2-seed Phillies versus the 5-seed Padres. This is a rematch of the 2022 NLCS, so both these teams are going to be coming for blood. I do think the Phillies are disgusting with Orion Kirkening out of their bullpen. Matt Strom, Johan Duran, they have guys that throw gas and just get outs. And not to mention they have Christopher Sanchez and Bryce Harper, Kyle Schwarber, who is built for those moments. However, the Padres, they also rake with Machado, even Jose Fermin, who they got from the Royals. He rakes Xander Bogaerts on top of Tatis. But I do think the Phillies will get it done with that pitching staff and the offense, but it will be a really close series. The Phillies would do it in 7 games, and Kyle Schwarber will get NLCS MVP. He's born for every big moment. He even did it in the All-Star game. He's incredible. So the World Series matchup will be the 2-seed Mariners versus the 2-seed Phillies. The AL versus the NL. That's how they both got the 2-seed. But the Mariners' offense, I think, will go off. And I think the Phillies' pitching will be tired from the NLCS because I think that's what's going to get the Phillies to the World Series, their pitching. So I think J.P. Crawford, Julio Rodriguez, Jorge Polanco, Cal Raleigh, everyone in that Mariners lineup is just going to be not bad in practice, but they're going to rake enough. So I do think the Mariners end up taking the World Series. It's going to be close, but in 5 games, the Phillies offense will extend it to one more game with Kyle Schwarber and Bryce Harper. But yeah, the Mariners, I think, will be the World Series champions this year. They have the vibes, Josh Naylor, Geno Suarez. That Mariners team is very good. And I think the ALCS, or the World Series MVP, will be Cal Raleigh. That guy, 60, I think he got up to 60 this year. He absolutely mashes. So that's it for today's video. Make sure to like and subscribe. Let me know what you think of my predictions down in the comments. And thank you guys for watching. Have a great rest of your night. Peace.